Okay, Jack seconds on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And now a motion on the proposal?
Madam Chair, I move that, I move to approve the area variance in ZBA 2021-0031. I do not believe an undesirable change will be produced in the neighborhood, nor will there be a detriment to nearby properties. It's not a substantial area variance because there seems to be ample parking in the area. And based on what the building looks like now, this variance is not going to have any adverse effect on the neighborhood.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mark. And on the motion, Jack McCann, Mark Palazzi,
Vote to approve.
Katie McLaren,
Yes, to approve.
and Kathy Conroy, yes to approve.
Thank you
Good
so
luck,
much.
you got your variance.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Okay.
time.
Next case, PLZBA 2021-0035, 309 8th Street, a use variance, community residential facility for the disabled. The applicant, Unity House of Troy, is proposing a change of use from administrative use to a 6-bed situational crisis center residence that will provide residential services to adults experiencing acute symptoms of their mental illness. Community residential facilities for the disabled are excluded in the city's zoning code. Hence, we need to address the issue. Anybody here to speak?
Yes, hello, this is Sarah Wingert. I am with Architecture Plus. We are the architect of record for this proposed project. I'm here on behalf of Unity House. The summary really hits the point. The project that Unity House would like to embark on would utilize the property at 309 8th Street, a property they've owned for 50 years. It is the Mary Jane Smith Building, 2-story brick building, originally residential. And what they're proposing is to essentially restore it from its multi-use past to a residential use, but specifically community residential for folks with mental illness. I think it's important to note that this is not an inpatient facility. This is a low-risk facility that is as close to putting people in their homes as possible. It's that last step before they truly engage in the community in their own homes. And so what's unique about this use variance is that there is no zone in the city of Troy that permits this use. Community residences of other types are permitted throughout the city. And in fact, in this zone, this R2 zone, but specifically excluded from the zoning ordinance are community residences for people with disabilities. And so we're compelled to come before you asking for a use variance. And I will pause. If there are any questions, I could go on.
Yeah, I just would like you to clarify. I think I know the answer, but so you're saying a community residential facility for any disabilities, not just mental illness, but mental retardation, for lack of a better term. Are they also excluded?
As I understand it, the
Really?
mental hygiene law defines this type of community residence. And unfortunately, the zoning ordinance and mental hygiene law are not perfectly aligned. They don't use the same vocabulary. So our interpretation is that people with disabilities, community residence is specifically designed to provide services for those with disabilities. We're not talking about physical disabilities.
No, I'm
Right.
talking about mental
Developmental-
disabilities.
Developmental disability, intellectual
Developmental
disabilities.
disabilities as opposed to mental illness. I mean, there are, they're two completely different
They are, but
things. So developmental disabilities are also excluded from the zoning ordinance, Andy?
Yes.
I find that hard to believe, but
and-
if it
and
is, it
there-
is.
There's a very simple reason, in my opinion. Under mental hygiene law 4134, it's a New York State statute. The siting of these facilities, are exempt from local zoning. There is a process in that section of state statute wherein the applicant notifies the chief executive officer of the municipality, in this case, the mayor, and tells them, we've picked a site, we want to go there. And then the mayor either approves it or suggests alternative sites. So the fact that that citing process exists in state law and the judges have made clear that, you can't inhibit it by zoning. My suspicion is at some point in the past, when the Troy zoning got amended, they excluded those out, recognizing that they're already subject to a different citing system under state law. So I don't think the original intent was to exclude these type of uses by eliminating them from zoning. I think it was a recognition that they're subject to their own citing statute.
Okay, but my question is, I guess, for all of the community residences that we've had specifically through ARC that I'm familiar with in the city, I don't recall in all my years on the zoning board, anybody ever having to come here before.
Right,
And why
because
is that?
Because of a
utilizing,
specific
utilizing the system in state law, the 4134 system, they would notify the mayor would approve the site and it would never come before the zoning board.
Okay, now I say this nicely. Why didn't he approve the site?
I don't know that they chose that option. It's my suspicion is Unity House chose the variance route rather than the
Oh.
state authorized citing route. And it's their choice. They can
I
come
see.
seek a use variance. If they get a use variance, they can be there. They don't need to go through that state statute process.
Okay, I get it. All
I
right,
think
I
it was an
understand now.
election of how to
Yeah,
get here.
I understand what you're saying now. Okay.
Andy, is there a conflict in the laws then with respect to, like, are we legally permitted to approve this type of variance where there is a mental hygiene law which speaks to the procedure for getting one of these sites approved?
I believe so. I believe the mental hygiene section prohibits you from utilizing zoning to keep them out. If you're granting a use variance to allow the facility to be at that location, then it's utilizing your zoning authorities to allow it. So I don't think it's a conflict. It only becomes a conflict if the zoning code is used as an attempt to keep it from going to the site. And that's the reason for the state statute. Municipalities were using their zoning authority to exclude these type of uses. The state legislature recognized that these uses are beneficial to be in community settings. So they passed a statute creating a totally separate law that allows them to be cited directly through a different process. But I don't think that precludes the applicant from seeking the use variance.
Okay, so what you basically did was, not that it's going to be a problem, I'm quite sure, but you took a chance
I
by
think,
going for a use variance as opposed to going the other route,
I think that
simply
that's,
put, which is, right?
yes, but I
Okay.
think that both paths could be met with resistance. And this is the approach that we've taken.
Right, okay, I get it now. I just didn't understand because I couldn't,
It's actually quite innovative. I haven't
and
seen
we've
it
never had
before.
anybody come here before, so
No,
you may have broken ground.
We thought it would be expedient.
Okay.
I'm not sure
Oh,
that
yeah,
that's how
right.
it's turned
Well, it
out.
could be
but
though,
that's
by the
okay.
time, sure, by the time you go through that whole other thing, it could be 6 months from now. Okay, so that's the only thing we need is the use variance. Does anybody else have any questions for the applicant at this moment? I mean, you have the parking and all that, it's just a use.
Well, at this time, we are requesting this use variance. Significant design, including site planning, has not yet been taken on. And I would, in full disclosure, like to state that there is the possibility that we would need to come for a parking variance. Not for the full complement of required parking, but at first glance, it may be that we request that you permit us, how shall I say? If 7 spaces are required, I may come back next month and ask you to permit us to have 5.
Right, okay,
Okay,
but right now, but what's the
long-winded
point
answer.
if you don't get the use, right?
right, exactly.
Okay. I understand.
And
Is anybody else here to speak in favor of the proposal? Anybody to speak in opposition? And I might also say, Dash, if I'm not mistaken, that if someone from the public did want to speak, maybe you could just give us the brief rundown on that to make us clear on it again. If somebody did have an opinion they wanted to air in this, the way we're doing things now,
Yes, so the way public comment is going now with the hybrid model between Zoom and in person is that individuals from the public can view on Zoom, but they can't provide public comment verbally through the speakers here. They would have to come in person. That's why the best method to provide public comment from this point on is typically written, if not in person.
Okay.
That is how we're doing it.
so
at
they
this
can come
moment.
in person if they
Yeah.
chose
Yes.
to, or they could have, and obviously you have nothing to add to this or the previous one, or you would have told us.
Correct.
And I would just add that yesterday, the governor called an extraordinary session of the state legislature, and they are currently meeting as we speak. And one of the things they're going to be considering is an amendment
meetings.
for the open meetings law to allow for virtual meetings. We're not sure what that's going to look like. It may be a hybrid format, but they are considering something. So we'll know a little more when we get back together next month.
Right. I mean, this is the sort of project, hate to have to say it, but you know, it could bring people out one way or another. I mean, and so I just wanted to make sure we were well on the same page as to whether or not people,
Right.
um,
I will provide just one other bit of information on the public noticing process. I notify all properties adjacent to proposal properties within a 100-foot range.
Mhm.
So all neighboring properties within that range to this property, the one before and the one after have been notified.
Right.
And no one has come to speak.
This
So,
may be a
and
silly question, but has the municipality been notified about the possibility of this application? And by that, I mean, the administration, the mayor's office.
not that I'm aware of, but it's been very
Right, I
visible.
mean, We're in
And-
the city hall right now.
It-
Okay.
It's my understanding too that the administration monitors agendas as they're issued. So I think it's safe to say that the administration is aware of anything that comes before
Mhm.
you in advance of the meeting.
Right. Our commissioner as well has been made aware of this, and if he felt the need to share beyond that through the municipality, he's welcome to do so. So I do assume that is the case.
could you just explain to us what exactly, you said that this is the step right before you go back to your own house? Did you say that, or it's a step before?
Right. So what this,
I mean, how would you get in there? And then how long do you stay?
how would you get in there?
Why would
So
you have to go there?
I would go there because I probably have a history of mental illness. I am having a crisis, and whomever is responding to my crisis has determined that I do not belong in a psychiatric inpatient setting. I shouldn't go to the hospital. I shouldn't go to the ED. And here is this setting that is the least restrictive, but providing the best kind of treatment for me
Mhm.
so that in a short period of time, I can go home. Or I go to a different community residence that is even less restrictive. This will provide 24-hour supervision. It's not a skilled nursing facility, but it's providing supervision in the case that I need someone to help me through something. So my next step is either going home or going to a community residence that is really like an apartment, supportive housing.
At its capacity, what it would be the max?
Maximum of 6 beds, not
And-
bedrooms, but beds.
And on top of the 6 beds, staffing, what's the max amount of people that would be in the building on any given time?
Probably 9. Right, so during the day at peak, if there's peak resident capacity or occupancy, so there's 6 folks living in the house during the day, there might be a nurse, an administrator, and a tech or support person. That's the maximum. And so at night, there will more likely be just one individual staff member on hand.
And what would you expect to be the typical length of stay?
That can really range.
Okay, from,
Yeah, it
To
could range
what?
from 3 days to, it could be 2 months,
oh, okay. All right,
but it is not intended to be a long-term stay.
right, okay,
And in fact, Unity House was very specific in the way that they defined this program. It's a situational crisis residence.
Mhm.
So it's responding to that situation, that event in somebody's life. And once that is cleared and treated, they move on.
okay.
I applaud Unity House for it because I know that services like this are sorely, sorely needed. Everywhere, but especially in this area. from-
Yeah, I would agree. I
from my
don't think, that I
experience.
don't know of any other place around here like this. Yeah, I definitely agree. I just had never heard of it basically before, so that's why I thought it would be.
It's pretty exciting.
It is exciting, and I would just hope that, it's just nice to know exactly what it means, because there are a lot of different places around that they don't address the crisis that I had this morning and I
Right.
need help with right now, as opposed to my long-term mental illness
Right.
type of thing. Yeah, okay. All right, do we have any further questions or comments? Jack?
In my other position, this is a most welcome thing because I deal with this every day. In my, and during crisis, as you know, sometimes the hospitals, the other people I have to deal with and the bureaucracy, by the time you get done with that, so this is going to be a facility where if I were to call and I had somebody that needed this, you would be able to take them, right? Like
If the
immediately.
bed is free.
Because
yes.
I'll be knocking at the door, I can guarantee you that.
It's crisis. That is its job.
Okay.
Is to hopefully avert the crisis, right? Shorten
Right.
that crisis.
I may have one Friday, that's why I'm curious. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. Okay. Are we ready for a motion, or do we have something else we want to add?
We need a seeker on this one.
Right,
Madam Chair, I move that for ZBA 2021-0035, that the board find this proposal to be an unlisted action with sufficient information available upon which to make a determination that the project is not expected to cause significant environmental impact.
we have a second. Second, Jack, all in favor? Aye, opposed, carried. Do we have a motion on the application?
Madam Chair, for ZBA 2021-0035, I would move to approve the use variance that is being requested here for the property. I don't believe that this was obviously a hardship that was caused by the applicant, as this mental hygiene law has been in existence for 50 years. I don't believe that's going to alter the neighborhood in any meaningful way, as it's going to be primarily an indoor use facility, and it's not going to exceed a maximum of 9 different people at the facility at any given time. And the unique circumstances that give rise to this application, I think, call for us to approve it. So
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Katie McLaren seconds, and on the motion, Jack McCann,
Yes to approve.
Katie McLaren,
Yes to approve.
Kathy Conroy, yes to approve, Mark Palazzi.
yes to approve.
Okay, there you go. Good luck.
Thank you, board.
Maybe we'll see you next month.
Okay.
Okay, next case. PLZBA 2021-0036, 9 and 15 Parkview Court. An area variance for lot characteristic deficiencies caused by a lot line adjustment. The applicant, Anthony Barker, is proposing a lot line adjustment between 9 and 15 Parkview Court. This lot line adjustment is sought so that appropriate legal setbacks are established for the future installation of a storage shed on the property of 9 Parkview Court, and will then allow for 10 feet of distance between the garage and the lot line. The deficiencies created by this lot line adjustment include minimum lot area, 2-family, minimum lot width at front building line, minimum side setback, maximum lot coverage, and maximum density for a two-family. Okay, the applicant,
Hi.
hi. Want to
Anthony
introduce
Barker.
yourself?
Yes,
Okay,
Anthony Barker. I reside at 9 and 15. Parkview is our two-family rental. Well, both are two families.
okay, could you speak up a little bit, please?
I reside at 9 and 15 is our two-family right next door, adjacent. And, you know, as it says, I think it says there in 2003, we put in a driveway and going all the way to the back into the back of the property. So owning both, I used decorative gravel on both sides and decided that I'm too old to be a landlord any longer. So to make it equitable, we have this after the survey, so that I have as little as 2.2 feet, which I didn't realize on my neighbor's side on 7, adjacent to us. And so when I tried to arrive at a distance from the 15 structure for the lot line adjustment for the driveway, I arrived at 2.2, figured that's on the other side, and have enough room to negotiate the car, and with enough room to have a shed or an accessory building far enough off the property line. I know that it's for an R2, it's 3 feet from the property line, from the back end, from the side. And the two-car garage for 15 is, I think, about 3 feet from the back of the property, less 17 inches from the house next door, which is, you know, pretty tight. And I don't have any intention of trying to get a variance for anything that tight. I just want to, you know, have enough room to, you know, store my materials and have a little workshop. Pretty simple, straightforward.
And then then you're gonna sell 15? Is that the idea?
Yes.
Are you gonna get rid of 15? So then you're only gonna live on 9 and you want a storage shed?
Yeah,
That sounds simple,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
yeah. Sorry, I
And thought
overcomplicated.
you were, no, you didn't overcomplicate it. I'm just saying, you thought it was gonna be a piece of cake when you went to Home Depot and got the shed, and then you find out you gotta get the variance.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the idea. You're getting rid of 15.
Mm-hmm.
You want your whole thing on 9.
Yeah, and I thought about, gee, I can annex the two-car garage in 15. I mean, but that's ridiculous and it would take away from the value of 15. So
Oh, yeah, right. Right.
yeah.
Okay, does anybody in of the board here have any questions for the applicant? So you still own 15. So obviously the person who owns 15 isn't going to speak against you, right? Being that it's you.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And my neighbor on the other side just acquired some more space on their property via my survey. So
Oh,
they're
there you
happy.
go. So they're happy.
Yeah, everyone's happy.
All right. So let's just not carry on here.
7 have its own driveway as well?
Yes, they do. And so I'm going to have to, whoever poured the concrete walk encroached on their property a bit, so I'll be cutting that, accommodating them.
So do we have any,
No secrets needed on this one.
okay, and no further questions, Jack or Mark?
I think so.
Or, I mean, it seems fairly simple, right? Okay, so let's not hang around any longer than we have to, right?
Right.
For such a simple-
Yes, that's right. All right, so we don't need a secret, so who wants to make the motion? Go ahead for the,
My motion would be to approve this. I don't think it's gonna take away from any problems in the neighborhood whatsoever. Now, this area you're talking about, I know can get congested. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we both know what we speak of here.
Yeah.
But I really think this is just a simple.
Is it a bar?
No. it's a few-
Oh.
Why would I know that?
I don't know, just checking.
No.
Okay.
It seems straightforward, and fairly simple. So I would vote.
Okay, so you're making a motion to approve.
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mark Pelazzi seconds, and on the motion, Katie McLaren,
Yes, to approve.
Mark Pelazzi,
Yes.
Kathy Conroy, yes, and Jack McCann.
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. You have your motion. Go sell number 15, right?
Thank you.
Good luck with that. Okay, with no further business,
I'll make a motion to
you
adjourn.
adjourn. Second,
I'll second
all in
that.
favor? All right, aye.
I can now get to my basement, which I'm sure will be.
There you
go. Okay.
The good thing is we haven't got any rain this summer. I mean,
Right.
it's desperately needed, you know?
What was July? 27 out of 31 days?
I haven't turned on the sprinklers to my garden more than twice this summer.
I think it was 27 out of 31 days in July we had rain. My tomatoes. Yeah. That was July.
Yeah, Andy, I was looking it up as we were going, and there's not any case law with respect to a decision of the ZBA that would conflict. There are some cases that talk about people standing with respect to opposing the project. There's cases that talk about, other issues with respect to determinations being made, but there's nothing that I could find quickly that dealt with